I've got a confession to make. See, I haven't been honest. I keep telling you that I don't have a racist bone in my body. I keep shaking my fists at injustice and demanding equality every time the media feeds me a story about the opportunity gaps between black and white. I keep shouting at my TV, "That isn't right," and professing that's a system against which I'd like to fight. My white mouth keeps speaking out against the percentage of black skin that falls on the wrong side of the poverty line. I ask, why are so many people walking around like this is fine? But damned if I don't simultaneously cross the street when two black men approach, even if they're wearing pleats. And about those racist bones, if I don't have them, then why do I so often wonder why black bones make better athletes? Why does a white hand holding one of color still get my attention? Why do I proclaim unity, but seek no diversity in my innermost circle? Well, here's the answer, Christian. And it's different than the one the world feeds, where God is nowhere to be found on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because I'm a sinner. And the issue of race relations is no less a conversation about sin than the topic of abortion or divorce rates out of proportion. But why don't we see it that way? Why is it so much easier for the church to condemn someone who's gay than someone who sees an outstretched hand of color and pulls away? It's because race has always been one of the few topics that white Christians would assume leave inside the locket with the key tossed aside and heads buried in the sand, so that if someone asks me about racial issues, I don't have to raise my hand. And it's shameful that shame has driven us to this point. I feel guilty for the way I feel, and that prevents me from being real. I tell you that I've got no problem at all with black people, but the most segregated building in America sits beneath every church steeple. Now, here come 2 points for us to use to self-anoint. First, church, stop being dishonest about the thoughts that bind. Why wouldn't you be racist, even if just in your mind? From scholastic history books of our youth, to the onslaught of past and present media, to the homogenous communities in which so many live, to the generational thought bondage passed down over time, the division between black and white doesn't just leak into our soul. It's shot through a fire hose, and it can swallow us whole. If you can admit that at some level this has happened to you, then you may have a chance to move on to point 2. If you can hear yourself say, I've at least got racial reservations, well, now you're more likely to honestly open the conversation, because that's what's sorely lacking. The courage of the white Christian to find his black brother and say the words, I don't know. I don't know what makes you tick. I don't know how you feel. I don't know what you eat, and I don't know what's real. I've never invited you to my home for fear of discomfort, for fear of cultural insensitivity, for fear of what I don't know. It's been so much easier to quietly segregate because I don't know what to put on your dinner plate. And I know that to keep you at arm's length is a sin. Now, if all of that feels like an insurmountable breach of social graces, just imagine how a black man feels when he sees all of our white faces standing in the church lobby chatting with only like kind. Father, they speak of all these other issues, but to this one they're blind? Where are you in that? Do you even care for me? Wasn't ethnic diversity something you died for on the tree? White Christians, if you want an immediate hug from a set of black arms, tell their owner that you've lived in fear based on racial undertones, and that instead of continuing to choose that sin, you choose relationship. That you want to know what you don't know, that you want to know God and continue to grow. And if that conversation makes you nervous and you feel your tongue starting to babble, understand that's okay. You're reversing the Tower of Babel.